This episode of the Boruto anime series probably features my favorite surreal moment from the entire franchise, watching Orochimaru casually hang out with his son Mitsuki and eat potato chips. Greetings my friends, and welcome to another review of the Boruto, Naruto Next Generations anime series. Today we're going to be taking a look at an episode which completely wraps up the Cho-Cho trilogy arc. And gasp! It ends exactly the way that you would expect, with Cho-Cho learning a heartfelt lesson about what it truly means to be yourself. This episode was fun and delightfully cheesy. It kind of ran like an anime episode of Scooby-Doo, with the villain being truly revealed at the end of the episode, quite literally with an unmasking, and ending in a ridiculous way that was kind of predictable. So, big shock, Ashina is kind of a bitch. This entire episode revolves around the fact that she is very bitter about the fact that she's about to be fired from this super cheesy television show, which, after watching a couple scenes from it, I honestly have to say, maybe she should have left the show. She decides to concoct this crazy plan where she's actually going to have Tomaru kidnapped by one of those gas mask ninjas. She's actually the one who's been hiring them the entire time. She was going to stage this big kidnapping scene where she saves Tomaru, thus increasing her popularity with the fanbase, and maybe even giving her a chance to stay on the show and maybe even get bigger and better roles. The problem was, she got played by, of all people, Konohamaru. This entire episode actually played out really well and ran really strong with the whole theme of actually being yourself. When you try to be someone else, you end up coming across as a little fake and, in Ashina's case, like a freaking crazy psychopath. So the long and short of it is, Konohamaru actually came up with this brilliant plan where they actually ended up capturing that gas mask ninja, and they utilized his identity to trick Ashina. He was actually wearing that costume the entire time and had her basically monologue her entire plan out of nowhere, because that's what stupid anime villains do. Of course, most of this episode still focuses on Cho-Cho, who is still struggling to be herself or to try and be the person that she thinks that she's supposed to be. Stubbornly, throughout the entire episode, she's utilizing her butterfly jutsu in order to look thin. All of her friends are desperately wanting her to go back to the real Cho-Cho, however, she just cannot do that anymore. A part of her seems to just completely dismiss the fact that while before she might have been chubby, she also had way more confidence in everything that she did, and she was way more useful as an actual ninja. What I loved most about this episode, though, had to be Mitsuki. He was actually the character who actually ended up influencing Cho-Cho to be herself, and he did it by actually comparing her personality to potato chips. Now, while that might actually sound ridiculous, it actually works perfect for the character of Cho-Cho. He used the metaphor of no matter what sort of flavor a potato chip is, it all hinges on the actual potato itself, what truly lies within. Basically, he's trying to let Cho-Cho know that she's a really good potato. Scratch that, reverse it, what he's really trying to say is just be yourself. No matter how much you try to change, it's not your true essence, and it's not who you truly are. And by the end of the episode, she is actually able to reveal her true self to Tomaru in a pretty exciting action scene, where after Konohamaru reveals that he actually tricked Ashina, she decides to pull out some explosive tags, which causes a massive explosion, rubble going all over the place, and Tomaru and all of the people involved with the film crew are about to be crushed by rocks. Luckily, Boruto, Shikadai, Sarada, and even Inojin come in to save the day, but of course, it is Cho-Cho who ends up getting the big moment where she reveals her true nature, going back to her delightfully chubby self and punching the absolute shit out of a giant rock which is about to crush Tomaru. So Ashina fucks up, she ends up going to jail, and she would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that meddling Konohamaru. And Tomaru learns an important life lesson. Don't judge people by their appearances, judge them by the content of their character. It's in this moment that he sort of creepily falls in love with Cho-Cho, but she's like, fuck that noise, I don't need boys, I'm gonna get paid. Even a small scene between Orochimaru and Mitsuki. You see, because Mitsuki decided to help out Cho-Cho, she gives him some potato chips, which he's more than happy to share with his father/mother. But of course, the scene is also really important because, again, it goes with the theme of the episode. It doesn't really matter what Orochimaru is. Mother, father, at the end of the day, he's a loving parent to Mitsuki, and really, that's all that matters to him. What I especially love about this is it truly shows that Mitsuki has grown tremendously as a character since the beginning of the series, appearing as almost sort of like a weird autonomous puppet, and slowly but surely actually transforming into a human with emotions. So what's the rundown on this episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations? I actually really liked this whole trilogy. It was a little predictable in the way that it was going. It was pretty obvious from the beginning that Ashina had some big problems with her co-actor, although I never imagined that she would go to such ridiculous lengths here. I really thought she was going to go a little harder and maybe end up killing Tomaru, and she practically did that when he stupidly tried to crawl down the mountain. But no, everything ended up blowing up in her face when she realized, oh crap, I'm in the middle of the biggest freaking ninja village in the world. They're probably going to figure out this plan. While it is a little disappointing that we didn't get to see a proper finale and fighting against a bad guy, because one, I wanted to see more of Konohamaru in action. They don't use him enough, but again, it was really great that he was sort of in charge of this entire operation where they ended up tricking her. It was pretty satisfying seeing that play out in the end. But ultimately, this entire arc right here is basically about having confidence in yourself and owning up to who you truly are. It really does shine through when you do that. It's a good message that honestly is universal and timeless. It's super cheesy, but honestly, I like it. It was a great moment for Cho-Cho, and it's great to finally see her return back to her true personality, which ultimately is just so much more fun to watch. I also gotta say, I love all of the Sarada moments in this episode, whether it be the beginning where she's counting all of Cho-Cho's size, which is really strange, and she even claims that she's done this 42 times. 42. That's the answer to everything in the universe. And of course, I loved her reaction at the very end of the episode when Cho-Cho goes back to her original self. She just loved screaming her mother's signature catchphrase. It's schmaltzy, it's cheesy, and it plays out like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, but honestly, I thought this was a pretty good addition to the Boruto series. I'm really excited for the future of the show, as a lot of things are going to be mysterious from this point on, but I've also heard that there's going to be an upcoming Mitsuki arc, which slowly but surely they seem to be sort of planting the seeds for in this episode right here, and I really appreciated that. But before we get to it, it looks like the next episode is actually going to revolve around Rock Lee teaching his son Metal Lee how to actually be a ninja and get rid of the distractions all around him. So I can't wait to see what that's about. But this episode right here, like the rest of this little trilogy, was surprisingly decent for what it was. So I'm going to give this episode a 4 out of 5. Another great addition to the Boruto series that I highly recommend for all fans of the franchise, especially those who really love Cho-Cho. You heard my thoughts? I want to hear yours. Tell me what you guys thought about this episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations in the comment section below. Did you enjoy the Cho-Cho arc? Did you see it playing out this way? Did you have any favorite moments from this episode? And what do you hope to see from the future of the Boruto anime series? Let's get a discussion going. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay down now, baby. Basically, he's trying to let Cho-Cho know that she's a really good potato.